Check.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Andrew from the Saints Happy Hour, and this is another edition of Morning Cocktail. Today, we're going to be talking about Kenny Pickett, the quarterback of Pitt. I've seen a number of mock drafts, and there's been a number of where obviously the Saints are picking 18, and we've seen a lot of teams taking Kenny Pickett, or a lot of mock drafters picking Kenny Pickett for the Saints at 18. And so I wanted to talk about Pickett today. We'll see what happens with Jameis Winston. We'll see what happens in free agency. Could they trade for Russell Wilson? Could they acquire a different quarterback? I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen between now and then. But today I'm just going to talk about specifically, since I've seen so many mock drafts specifically take Pickett to the Saints. I wanted to address that. Good morning, Jerry and Yannick. Thanks for joining me here this morning for another edition of Morning Cocktail. Yannick does not seem to like Kenny Pickett, so he's going with the hard no, and Jerry is saying yes. So it sounds like we've got differing opinions already on the quarterback. I will go on record as saying, after watching a lot of his tape, that I am a Kenny Pickett fan. I am part of the fan club, and I will admit that I am a supporter, and I would be in favor of the Saints drafting him should he be available at 18. When you look at his profile, when you watch him play, first of all, I mean, he's got a great build. He's a fantastic athlete. Think, Josh Allen, maybe not quite as much size and maybe not as elite of an athlete as Josh Allen, but he certainly fits a similar profile. He can absolutely run. He can escape the pocket. He's got nice size. And man, I'll be honest, he's not filled out necessarily like Taysom Hill, but for 6'3", 6'4" quarterback, he's pretty filled out. He's got nice size, and he's not a skinny quarterback. I mean, he's pretty thick. And I'll tell you, on some of these runs, his escapability is incredible. It really is. You can see him running and trying to avoid defenders. And Lone Wolf, thanks for joining us this morning. He likes Kenny Pickett as well. His escapability is impressive, much more impressive than, say, like an Ian Book type guy. So that stands out on tape. He throws a lot vertically, and I have to say his touch on the deep ball is excellent. I like his ball placement. I think he's a guy that when he sees that one-on-one matchup that he likes, he's really good at identifying that quickly and going downfield and pushing the ball with it. And because he has nice touch and good accuracy downfield, a lot of times he throws a catchable ball. He's got that one-on-one matchup, and it favors him and his team when he makes those throws. So, man, I just think about pairing up an athlete like this with his skill set with a guy like Sean Payton. He's got some elements of Derek Carr. You'll see that comparison out there a lot. He's got some elements of Joe Burrow. He's got some elements of Taysom Hill. I think he's really a blend of all three. Josh Allen maybe a little bit too, but it boils down to he's got size. I would not say that he has an elite arm. I would say that his touch on the deep ball is very good, but I would say that he has a good arm. I don't think he has an elite arm, but I think having an elite arm is kind of overrated, honestly. I would say that, and Yannick's reason for not liking him, he says, I'm looking for elite traits in a first-round QB. He's really good at a lot of things, but he doesn't show any elite attributes, in my opinion. And I think that's fair. I don't think he has the strongest arm you've ever seen. He's not Lamar Jackson, so he's not the fastest quarterback you've ever seen. He's not 6'6", so he's not the biggest, although he is 6'4", 6'3", 6'4" in between. So he's got nice size. But yeah, I agree. I think he's really solid in all areas. And look, I haven't listened to a lot of his interviews extensively, and I think it's going to boil down to that. Personality, how does he match with Sean Payton? Does Sean Payton like his makeup? But I do know he has leadership skills. And at Pitt, he was viewed as a team captain, a guy that the team rallied behind. And so we'll have to see. That's kind of the missing link and the missing part for me, is really trying to study and identify personality wise, is he someone that aligns with Sean Payton? CK, the chances of him falling to 18, I think, are pretty good. I mean, like I said, a lot of mocks are having the Saints taking him at 18 right now, or at least being available there. So I think the chances are good, but we'll have to see how the combine goes. I think Kenny Pickett's a guy that could raise his stock substantially depending on how he interviews, depending on how things go, and I could see him drop. He's one of those quarterbacks that it could really go either way. But man, there's a lot to like. Again, I just go back to he has the deep ball. He's a tremendous athlete. I like his accuracy. He completed 67% of his passes and made tremendous strides in that area with his accuracy downfield and his ability to push the ball this past year. So that's something you want to see as well. You want to see progress in a guy. That means he's working hard. That means he's working on his game. He's identifying areas of weakness and perfecting those. And so there is a lot to like with Kenny Pickett. And I have to say the tape impressed me a lot. And I would be in favor of the Saints taking him 18 overall. So Lone Wolf had a question. He says, whenever the Saints draft a player, my biggest concern is how well can this guy transition from college to the pros? Two entirely different beasts. I completely agree. That's a great comment. Wasn't a question. It was more of a comment. But I obviously we've had a lot of guests on our show in the past that have been either former NFL GMs or scouts, and we've had players on. And so I keep in touch with all those people, and I text them a lot and try to get insights. And the best insight I've ever gotten about evaluating college quarterbacks is from someone that is a great source that I trust a lot. And his point to me was basically, he said the worst thing about evaluating college quarterbacks is that you can't trust the stats. And this is true in the NFL too, that the system that they're in, the head coach that they have, the playmakers around them, the quality of their offensive line, how much is the running game supporting them? What does their head coach ask them to do? The synergy between coach and quarterback. Like, these are all factors that dictate how well a quarterback does. So purely looking at stats, saying like, this is Aaron Rodgers' stats, this is Derek Carr's stats, this is Matt Stafford's stats, purely looking at stats is a fallacy in of itself, because you're really missing a lot of elements and a lot of nuance by purely looking at stats and saying, well, this guy's better stats than this guy, so he's better. So it doesn't work that way. We know this. But while that's true in the NFL, it's even bigger in college football. The variance of the quality of your offensive line, running game support, the system that's built, your fit in that system, how much is scripted, So anyway, the advice I was given is you basically throw stats out the door. College football stats for quarterbacks really give you zero insight into how they're going to transition and go to the pros. And so what that leaves you with, unfortunately, is the eye test. And we know the eye test is highly subjective. It's highly variable depending on which eyes are looking. And the bottom line is that I think that's why it's the toughest position to project from college to the pros, because it really comes down to how much do they film study? How much are they going to improve over the course of time? How much do they absorb? Do they have leadership qualities? These are all things that ultimately impact their ability to have success at the next level. And so it is very difficult to project, and you can't lean on stats. I mean, Danny Werfel is probably the poster child for a quarterback that had tremendous stats, won a Heisman, won a national title, and was a complete bum in the NFL, was completely incapable of transitioning to the next level. And it's just a reality that he didn't have the arm strength. He didn't have the athleticism. He didn't have the escapability. So to me, it's clear when you go back and look at his tape, it's like, it completely makes sense. And his receivers were running. If you go back and watch Florida tape of Danny Werfel, every time he's floating a pass to a wide open dude. And I remember he had Reed L. Anthony and Ike Hilliard too. NFL quality receivers that were college football superstars. And his offensive line gave him all day to throw. And obviously that didn't work in the NFL for him. But with Kenny Pickett, again, I have to say, maybe the most impressive thing is his ability to get down the field accurately off platform. And that's one thing where I would not compare him to Mahomes. And obviously he's not on that level. But when you have the ability to throw the ball accurately off platform, that speaks to your athleticism. Now, that can get you in trouble because I think sometimes if you get away with poor technique and throwing off platform, you start to believe that you can do it all the time. You can make all these throws. Jameis Winston is guilty of this too, where you're such a good athlete, you have such arm strength that you think you can just make those throws all the time. And so I think that's where you have to be careful. That's where Sean Payton comes in. That's where coaching comes in. But man, I just think when you look at his raw ability and what he did at Pitt his senior year this past season, Kenny Pickett to me is a no-brainer. So I say yes. If he's available at 18, the Saints should make that pick. I'm a big fan, and I do think he's going to have a good NFL career if he gets in the right system, right place, and has the correct support. So that's my take on him. Thank you guys so much for joining today. Please, please, please hit the like button. That helps us a ton. So if you can smash the like button as many times as possible, that really helps us grow. If you could share the podcast, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, because we're going to be doing this, and set your alerts so you know that usually I'll try to get these up at 8:30 Eastern every morning. So that's what we're looking at for Morning Cocktail. We'll go about 10 minutes. But this was an episode on Kenny Pickett. If there's any other players you want me to review, look at game tape on, give you my feedback and thoughts on how they are as players and how they fit with the Saints, we will start doing more draft coverage. We'll talk about free agency. We've got a bunch of stuff coming this offseason. So thanks for sticking with us. And make sure you check out our website at saintshappyhour.com. But don't forget, hit the like button, please. Hit the like button, share. Thank you guys so much, as always, for your support. Who dat? Talk to you soon.